So the one thing we sort of want to focus on here is our spatial awareness as well. So the first thing we do and are going to do is look at footballers off the ball, the way their work rate and what they do off the ball. So you study footballers, like we've been talking about, what they do off the ball. What's useful then is you go to a full-size pitch, and even on your own for 5 minutes, 10 minutes on your own, you warm up and stretch and you sort of replicate some of those movements, or your movements, the movements that you are tactically, or the movements that you've been your position. So what you do, you sort of go on there, even in the full-size pitch, you replicate some of the movements that your position. Alternatively, as well as that, you can sort of replicate some of the movements that you see from that player who plays in your position. Obviously, if it goes against the game plan of your coach, I'm not suggesting to do that. But what's quite useful for you in your own development, we've talked about building patterns in the mind, reinforcing patterns, building patterns. So for me, we saw that phase of play. He's gambled on that second ball. Okay, so you get on a football field and you replicate that, you move that. If you've got someone to work with, a partner, you can. If not, you work on your own. Okay, and then you visualize it, you internalize it in your mind. So the exercise, you study your player, or you've got these instructions in terms of your role. You go on the full-size pitch for spatial awareness, okay? And that could be even, for example, a corner or set piece. So you're clear on what you do. And you see it in corners, how many times, the player is not on the post or loses the other player, for example. That's key. So that having that movement, going through that movement, even on your own, then internalizing it is really important. You've got that gap between stimulus and reaction. And on top of that, you've got these sort of, distractions. The mind wanders when the game breaks down. So, staying focused on the process. We've talked about this before on several occasions. So, focusing on exactly what we need to do in that moment. And obviously, we've talked about how emotions can have an impact on our decisions. So you get a bad decision goes against you, and you're still focusing on that sort of previous decision. You're not focusing on a now. Okay. So before we begin the next exercise, what I want you to do is, make yourself comfortable. You can close your eyes if you want to, but I want you to sort of, in your own mind, I want you to sort of reflect on a good performance. Okay. But focus on what you did, not just on the ball, but also off the ball. So if it's easier for you to block out the outside world, and you want to close your eyes, whatever, that's okay. If you prefer to keep your eyes, that might really matter. But what's important is you can sort of like watching yourself on a screen, seeing yourself, what you did in a good performance, what you heard, what you felt, using your sensory channels. You can see yourself, and even if you sort of go in that sort of here and now, and experience it like it's the moment. So you can think about your work rate, what you did, not just on the ball, but off the ball. Okay. And equally, what you can do is reflect on certain players. And this is going to be an area a task I'm going to give you to choose a player. And you're going to watch that player over the weekend or within the next week, and study them carefully, their movement off the ball, and you're going to take and sort of learn from that. And even if you break down 3 or 4 movements they do, then you go on the field for 5 minutes or so, and you sort of build that pattern, okay? And then you internalize it and focus from there. So, reflect on your own good performances is good. So before we do the next exercise, we'll do an exercise shortly, and I'll sort of take